mental, emotional, and therefore leadership and business capacity and resilience. Mental, emotional, and therefore leadership and business capacity and resilience. Entrepreneurs, leaders, influencers, super stoked to share something today. Epiphany, insight, mental, emotional, and therefore leadership and business capacity and resilience. Mental, emotional, and therefore leadership and business capacity and resilience. So I just interviewed one of my closest friends on the planet who is a very successful CEO, took a company back in 2008 that did not exist to today, 12 years later, a multi-million dollar company, multi-million dollar and international company, and one of the top 4 global brands in the hand hygiene space, with kind of the health space. And what's been fascinating, and something that he didn't even talk about in the interview was, so he's running this company, it's 500 employees, and also in charge of international operations for a parent company. There's 3 or 4 massive organizations that he's running and in charge of. And what's been fascinating in watching him and talking to him, when I talk to him, have conversations with him, it's like he's not even sweating. It's like he's not even breathing hard on his jog, right, or on his run. Or I've got a background, I'm a couple years, 2.5 years into Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and there are some dudes you roll with that it's like they're not even trying because they're so dialed in, they're so in the zone, they're operating at peak capacity, and it's like they're just not even breathing hard. And that's how this guy is. And I just thought, wow, it just made me think today. Oh, and then also I've had another huge epiphany breakthrough for me. I got yesterday, I got dropped a whole bunch of new information and a lot of details, a whole bunch of information. And typically in the past, my emotional response mechanism was I would immediately shut down with a whole bunch of information and new information and detailed information. Those 3 factors in the past have completely shut me down. And I'll go into my default emotional mental battle drill of avoiding. I get dropped all this information, new information, detailed information, completely overwhelms me, completely, creates anxiety, stress, tension, anxiousness, all this emotions, and I would just completely shut down and avoid it. My breakthrough is, so then between my conversation with my buddy and then my personal breakthrough yesterday, because here's what happened. After I got dropped with a whole bunch of information, new information, and detailed information, I immediately, so this is what I'm so excited about. I went into a quiet room in the house, no distractions, and brought my journal, my favorite pen, and I created this whole process for how I dealt with this feeling of rather than avoiding those feelings and emotions and completely allowing myself to get shut down, I dove into them and did this whole list of this whole process that got me out of my normal default negative emotional mental cycle that has absolutely negatively impacted my it's negatively impacted my mental and leadership and business agility and resilience. And I'm super excited to share that lesson too with everybody at some point. But in terms of what was the process I used and that kind of thing, but just that was on my being today. So being more intentional at this new process that I've created for me, in the hopes that it will also allow more capacity and increased capacity and resilience for my leadership abilities and capacity and my business capacity and resilience and stuff. So anyway, let's change the world by changing your world by changing you.